Look at this map of California. Zoom into the eastern side of the state, near the Nevada border. Now watch what happens when we move just 85 miles across this landscape. Here, the land sinks to 282 feet below sea level, the lowest point in North America. But over here, the ground rises to 14,505 feet above sea level, the highest mountain in the entire lower 48 United States. The difference between these two places is 14,787 feet, and yet, they are almost neighbors. One is a place where temperatures once reached 134 degrees Fahrenheit. The other can drop below freezing even in summer. This is the story of Death Valley and Mount Whitney, two of the most extreme landscapes on Earth. To understand this contrast, let's start with the valley. Death Valley is a desert valley in eastern California, in the northern Mojave Desert, bordering the Great Basin Desert. It is a 156-mile-long valley, surrounded by the Panamint Mountain Range from west and Amargosa Mountain Range from east. The valley covers about 5,212 square miles. It is the hottest, driest, and lowest place in North America. One of its locations, Badwater Basin, lies 282 feet below sea level, making it the lowest point in the United States. It is 84.6 miles east-southeast of Mount Whitney, the highest point in the contiguous United States, with an elevation of 14,505 feet. Scientists believe that centuries ago there was a lake here, which eventually dried up because of extreme heat, leaving behind salt flats and dry lake beds. In the afternoon hours of July 10, 1913, the United States Weather Bureau recorded a temperature of 134 degrees Fahrenheit in Death Valley, which stands as the highest ambient air temperature ever recorded on the surface of the Earth. Death Valley is part of the Basin Range geological region. The land formed when blocks of Earth's crust were pulled apart and tilted. As mountains rose, the valley floor sank downward, forming a half-graben structure. Its name came from a gold rush incident. In 1849, a wagon group searching for a shortcut to California got lost in the desert for 5 weeks. When they finally escaped, one traveler looked back and said, "Goodbye, Death Valley." The reason for its hot temperatures is the mountains surrounding Death Valley. They block moist ocean winds, so rain falls on the mountains before reaching the valley. By the time the air arrives, it is extremely dry and hot, leaving the valley with only about 2.3 inches of rain a year and temperatures often above 122 degrees Fahrenheit. More than just a desert, you might think the valley is only empty sand. But that's not true. It has major landscapes include massive salt flats, sand dunes, racetrack playa, colorful volcanic rock, rare desert waterfall, and Devil's Golf Course, a rough salt-covered land where it's jokingly said that only the devil could play golf. The most shocking mystery of Death Valley is the sailing stones of Racetrack Playa. Rocks appear to move across the desert floor, leaving long trails behind. Scientists studied this for decades until Richard and Jim Norris recorded it in 2013. After rain forms a shallow pond, thin ice sheets break and winds slowly push the rocks across the mud, sometimes over 200 feet. Despite its harsh climate, over 1,000 plant species survive in Death Valley. Wildlife includes foxes, bats, rabbits, squirrels, and mountain lions, all specially adapted to endure the extreme heat. During the late 1800s, gold, silver, and borax were discovered in nearby mountains. Mining towns appeared in the area. A plant called Harmony Borax Works processed borax, and wagons used at the time can still be seen there today. When the mines were exhausted, the towns were abandoned. In 1994, Death Valley was declared a national park. Every year, millions of tourists visit the valley's unique landmarks, like Scotty's Castle built in 1922, the Amargosa Opera House restored by dancer Marta Beckett in 1967, mysterious desert sculptures, and a 2,000-foot tunnel dug by a man named William Schmidt, who spent 38 years digging it by hand. Some believe he was searching for treasure. By now, Death Valley should be familiar. Now, Move the map just a little farther west. From the lowest basin, the land suddenly begins to rise. Higher, higher, until the desert floor transforms into the towering granite wall of the Sierra Nevada mountains. And at the highest point of that range stands Mount Whitney. It rises to 14,505 feet, making it the highest peak in the contiguous United States. From the nearby town of Lone Pine, the mountain climbs more than 10,700 feet straight upward. Few mountains in North America rise so dramatically from valley floor to summit. The peak sits along the Sierra Crest and the Great Basin Divide, where water flowing from the mountain splits in different directions. Some streams flow west into the Kern River and California's Central Valley. Others flow east into Owens Lake, part of the Great Basin. But the biggest contrast between Whitney and Death Valley is temperature. Down in Death Valley, the ground can bake above 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Up here, near the summit of Whitney, temperatures can fall below freezing even in summer. In winter, heavy storms bury the peak in deep snow and temperatures plunge far below zero. At these heights, the environment becomes alpine tundra. Trees disappear. Only a few hardy plants like the tiny sky pilot survive, hugging the ground to resist the cold winds. The mountain itself began forming millions of years ago. Deep underground, molten rock cooled slowly to form massive granite. Later, tectonic forces lifted the Sierra Nevada upward while nearby land collapsed downward, helping create the deep basin that became Death Valley. So the same geological forces that pushed Mount Whitney skyward also helped carve out the lowest desert basin nearby. Humans have long been drawn to this dramatic peak. The Paiute people called the mountain Tumunguya, meaning the very old man. In 1873, 3 fishermen from the town of Lone Pine, Charles Bagol, A.H. Johnson, and John Lucas, became the first recorded climbers to reach the summit. Today, thousands of hikers attempt the journey every year. The Mount Whitney Trail begins at Whitney Portal at 8,360 feet. From there, hikers climb about 22 miles round trip, gaining more than 6,000 feet in elevation. The route passes alpine lakes, meadows, and a famous section called the 99 Switchbacks, eventually reaching trail crest at 13,600 feet. From there, a final rocky path leads to the summit. At the top stands the Smithsonian Hut, built in 1909 to shelter climbers from the mountain's unpredictable weather. And from this summit, something remarkable becomes visible. Look east, beyond the mountains, lies the desert basin, Death Valley. From the summit of Mount Whitney to the floor of Badwater Basin, the land drops 14,787 feet, all within 85 miles. Few places on Earth contain such extreme elevation contrast over such a short distance. Here in Eastern California, the landscape stretches from the hottest desert on Earth to the highest peak in the lower United States, from 134-degree heat to freezing alpine air. 2 neighbors, 2 extremes, both shaped by the same powerful forces deep beneath the Earth. And together, they reveal just how dramatic our planet's geography can be.